Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I figured I'd just try to do a quick little video right here folks for you, and I hope you all enjoy it of course. So yeah, for this video I'm going to be doing something I haven't done, not very often I guess. And but yeah, basically I'm going to be doing yet another top 10 movie thing here folks. I don't do top 10 lists that often, really, but I just figured I'll just what the hell. The year's almost over, so I figured I'll just do this for a good moment here. Of course, it's in regards to film, which yes, I do believe anybody and everyone should be able to enjoy. I mean, unless you're a prune, I guess. But anyway, to be more specific here is that this list is going to be basically regarding something completely and utterly idiotic. And before anyone tells me in the comment section, I know everybody has the right to their own opinion, has their own right to their own thoughts, but that doesn't mean you're in the right. But basically, I'm going to be doing a top 10 dumbest controversies surrounding film. And there's going to be in no particular order, there's going to be random. And I will give you some examples of what I'm talking about, folks, because this is pretty damn stupid. And yeah, here's some of here, folks. So, of course, you could always argue that people are just, of course, reading too much into it, which they are, of course. That's the obvious. But of course, they can turn things into something that it really isn't. Turn it into something that was never the intent, of course. And just ranting and over stuff, overly analyzing something, overthinking any aspect of the film or films in this case, and turning it into something that's completely different than the intended purpose of said movie or movies, taking certain scenes out of context and placing it with something again that was not for the actual purpose of the movie or movies in this case, and just claim that it's there right in front of you when it really isn't. And of course, these individuals who make such claims, I would definitely argue that are just delusional, which they are, considering the fact that nothing of such sorts is in the movie. Like everything has to be offensive to you. Like really, like every aspect of every movie that you don't like is offensive, and I just don't get it. And it's ridiculous to the extreme. So I just figured I'll make a video about that. And thank anybody ahead of time because I know this video and these types of videos I will tend to do are can be pretty lengthy. So yes, thank you anybody ahead of time for watching it right now, folks. So whoever you are and you're watching this straight through, thank you very much. Just thought I would just talk about some of the dumbest shit I've heard. I'm not going to cover every little thing because there's a lot. And believe me, folks, if I bring it up in this video, it would be much longer than it already is. Just so you know. So I'm just bringing up some examples, like right here, before I get into my top 10 list. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that don't make any sense because they're just tonguing out their asses. And of course, obviously, they have no idea what they're talking about, yet they're acting like they know what they're talking about. And if somebody disagrees with them, oh yeah, you're the ignorant one, not the other person. Okay. But yeah, folks, it's just something I want to cover because this type of stuff I've covered before, and when it comes to people reading way too much into certain things, whether it's an anime or whatever else you can think of, I've discussed this kind of stuff before. And it just comes off like it's reaching. It's just hella reaching, I guess you can say, because that's what it is. And I just thought I would just cover that because, like I said, it's hella reaching because they have no idea what to properly put things. It's like you don't have your life priorities in check so you can discuss this kind of stuff instead? You're looking way too much into it. Come on. I mean, of course, this isn't in the news. It's not just in it's just not in film. It happened in books. This happened in comics, of course. Yes, even in video games. So of course, this kind of thing does happen with film. If it's made public, it's gonna happen because people are stupid and just look as if like they have a point. But as of course, a good chunk of this, of course, has something to do with sex as in some way or another because they're trying to make it seem like sex itself is bad, which it isn't. And of course, the sexual assault and whatnot, incest, all of which, of course, bad, obviously, but that's besides my point. But yeah, folks, and I'm fine with nudity, sexual or not, as long as it's within context of the film. Really, as long as it goes with the story and benefits the story some sort of way. So as long as there's that, I'm fine with it. It's not for its own sake. But regardless of what's going on the screen, people are going to complain about anything and everything. For something stupid. I mean, really, people? Come on. Oh. So, yeah, some going to be more absurd than others. But bottom line is, all of these going to be absurd. Maybe some more than others, but still. This can be from animation, live action, no, regardless of genre, regardless of director, from any company, from any time. So, I'm pretty open about this. So let's just get into it, shall we? So here we go. Holy hell, man. And number 10 is the original Beauty and the Beast, because apparently this movie is promoting the whole idea that the main character is going to fall in love with the kidnapper. So, if anything, it's okay if the victim falls in love with the person who's abusing them and whatnot. I'm be okay with domestic violence. What the hell are you even talking about? Ugh, fucking people. I mean, really, really. Speaking of nonsensical stuff, well, that goes for everything on this list, honestly. But yeah, this the first Wonder Woman film, I guess, a prequel, went under some heat because of the fact that her armpits have been shaved. Really, out of all the things to worry about in the movie, it's that. Really, people, seems awfully trivial, don't you think? But okay, whatever you say. Like I said, whatever you say. Original Blood the Last Vampire gets into some trouble because apparently it's being bigoted, even though there's no such evidence within the context of the film whatsoever. But of course, that didn't exactly stop people from trying to turn their own spin on this, even though apparently it exists within the movie. I don't know how that exists, but okay. But yeah, this is one of the more obscure films I'm talking about, but there you go. Number 7 is the idea that Frozen is okay with letting go of your responsibilities and whatnot. According to some religious people, the song Let It Go is fine with you being a slave to your sins. And the song is trying to promote that notion. Oh boy. These religious people. Oh boy. Yeah, they're basing this entire argument on the song Let It Go. That's it. I mean, really, people? Yeah, number 6 is Star Wars The Force Awakens because apparently it's perfectly A-okay with genocide towards Caucasians. Because a lot of people claim that this film series, especially The Force Awakens, has gone too woke. Go woke or go broke. That kind of attitude. Basically, that's what's been applying to this film, having diversity. Even though these films always had diversity from the beginning, but okay. Just for featuring a black character, they assume that this movie was going to be anti-white. That's not the point. It's not a fascist thing either when you think about it. But okay, it's a empire that's fascist, sure, but not the whole movie. All right, and it doesn't exactly help that the one actor actually says that there's not enough diversity in Star Wars, even though it was already there to begin with. Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty! I mean, really, people, I mean, really. The Knights of the Old Republic trilogy that was made, not diverse characters. So it was already there. The diversity was always there. The comics, the graphic novels, the other video games, just to name a few, that came out before Disney bought the rights. Again, it was always there. It was always there. All the while the social justice warriors complain about this Star Wars game for having a white character as lead. So what? Well, I don't see the problem here. Ugh. And yet, gay people are having such a tough time getting married to each other, and this happens. Yeah, I think there's a bigger problem we need to focus upon here. So. The Godzilla Heisei series was intended to be more of a relaunch to be really serious Godzilla series, but that didn't stop the controversy from occurring because with the film titled Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, because a lot of people mistook the entire movie as if it was the Japanese was trying to do like a strike against Japan. Well, don't believe me? I'll just include a quick segment right here, folks. Here you go.
A group of soldiers are preparing to annihilate some Japanese holdouts on the Pacific Isle. Enter a dinosaur who obviously has a natural proclivity for rescuing Japan from her woes. Japanese soldiers escape and eventually become key leaders of the country's economic miracle. The dinosaur, for his part, will recover, but gets a bad dose of radiation in U.S. A-bomb tests in the 50s. Comes Godzilla. Enter now the time travelers, the three-headed monster King Ghidorah, intent on stopping Japan from taking economic control of the world in the future. Godzilla to the rescue. Ghidorah is thwarted. Now, in a monstrous throwdown, everyone changes sides. Godzilla turns on Japan, ashamed of how materialistic it has become. And Ghidorah comes back as Japan's savior.
He's not trying to save Japan, he's actually destroying it. So, that's an error. Technically, this entire thing was deliberate. So, they didn't want him to, uh, do anything for anybody's favor. So, he was placed in a situation so he can be benefited for the bad guys. And it was not intentional for them to look American. These Americans are bad, sure, but not all of them. And King Ghidorah was basically a plan B, so to speak. After the fact that Godzilla does his thing, King Ghidorah can be used as a way to kill him when you get down to it.
Now, if you follow all that, there remains the question of whether the movie is anti-American.
It's not though. It's not anti-American. No. I mean, okay, the plot itself may be hard to follow because he does the whole Back to the Future plot line kind of a thing, especially when it comes to the one Japanese woman, Amy, if I remember her name correctly. She basically switched sides and used Mega King Ghidorah to fight against Godzilla because he became way too powerful. Yeah, that's the kind of thing going on there. Ultimately, she would have ended up saving the Americans and Japan at the same time, simultaneously. You stupid fuck. Can you not pick that up? I mean, really? Oh.
Even the American extras who were crushed and squished by Godzilla went home happy.
But hey, American companies can make war movies. Nobody else. I mean, fuck communism, but still. But that's okay, though. No one else can make war movies. No, Japan. Japan can't do it. No. Well, speaking of which, yeah, let's make a movie where the Japanese look like they're the worst pieces of shit ever. And be head of militias. And that's okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, And then, not only that, let's heavily censor Sailor Moon because somehow being a lesbian is evil, I guess. And yeah, no, okay, that's okay though, right? Nah, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, how dare Godzilla these films do these things?
I don't see any anti-American sentiment in the film.
Well, then, if it's not...
And to be perfectly clear, folks, I'm not okay with the fact that the American soldiers were pretty much, I guess, the Navy, we're going to say that to be more technical, were bombarded doing horrible. I'm not okay with that at all. But anyway, it seems awfully hypocritical concerning the fact that this former president wanted to put the Japanese in concentration camps. What the actual hell? That's not cool at all, whatsoever. Of course, in God we trust and all that jazz we'll be spoken about or whatever. That's just, no. That's complete bullshit. When you think about it, just come on.
Tells us that Christians are to pray for peace. We are to strive for peace. We are also the followers of the Prince of Peace. But we're also told that the Bible brings strong condemnation against those who cry peace, peace, when there is no peace. The Bible tells us that peace is not a natural state in this fallen world, that east of Eden, peace is a very rare and temporary accomplishment. And furthermore, even what we call peace is not actually peace. We're simply talking about something like a ceasefire, or we're talking about the withdrawal or reduction of hostility. The peace that we long for is a peace that only God can accomplish, a peace that will be found only within His kingdom, a peace that would have existed in Eden, but a peace that we destroyed and denied. This comes constantly to mind when we consider such things as the fact that the New York Times is reporting that Japan, the nation that renounced war in the aftermath of the Second World War, that Japan is beginning to reconsider just how unwarlike it can be. As Martin Fackler reports, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe may be about to take one of his biggest steps yet to nudge Japan away from its post-war pacifism after a government advisory panel recommended last week that constitutional restrictions on the military be eased to allow Japanese forces to come to the aid of allied nations under attack.
No, 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 and an infinite expanse of no's from the dimension of no, with a statue dedicated to their great creator, the god of no, who wept tears of no that filled the oceans with no and brought about billions of creatures who were no.
Number 4 is the live-action remake from Beauty and the Beast. This is brought up in this list because, I mean, okay, the movie's terrible. It's easily one of the worst films I've ever seen. But with this Christian individual, the reason behind this is different. I say it's just a cash in on nostalgia and a lazy attempt to make money. While this individual believes it's gay. It's so gay, therefore it's shitty. Ugh. Case in point here.
And imagination. If those devices are turned against the true story of the world, the one featuring the Creator who made us, loves us, and provides...
You assume too much.
What he's trying to get at is that Disney's version of morality is wrong, and the Christian point of view is the absolutely true one. If anybody's non-Christian and you support non-Christian point of views, you're the corrupted individual. The true creator, in this sense that he's talking about God himself, what you're doing is being disrespectful to God. And apparently that's what Disney's doing, being super disrespectful to God.
Way to redeem us, then they are subversive to what is best for us, and that is where we must be vigilant, not only for our children, but also for ourselves.
That sounds rather patronizing in the way he said it, but okay. Again, that's not what the movie is trying to do, like, at all. A good chunk of this film does feel like very half-baked in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, they do lots of visual cues and a lot of musical cues to the original film, sure, but you're just trying to grab on your memories. Oh, remember this, remember that, remember this. Oh boy. Yeah, there's so much wrong with this movie, but not what he's talking about.
Disney has put me and many other parents like me in a position of having to explain to very small children why this movie is bad for them. But we will do it, and we will use it as a teachable moment.
Say that he's gonna save the kids. Yes, the kids argument again from this corruption. Oh boy. Okay. What another issue I had with this film is that there was a lack of tension in a lot of ways. And I mean, this film really, really trying to hammer in that, trying to care for the characters in a lot of ways, but it doesn't work because, again, the writing in this movie is so horrendously awful. Ugh.
For the true story of the world, a story in which we are strangers and aliens in a place that is not our home. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11. Moments like this one bring the truth home in spades, and it's a lesson best learned early before there is more on the line than just the screening of a Disney movie. I think he makes very good points here in this article. Again, that's taken from Denny Burke, and Denny is posting out at his website at www.dennyburke.com. Now, this ties in to what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks here on the program, as I've been looking at the subject of 1 Thessalonians, and specifically 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, where the Apostle Paul is looking at the human instruments that God uses in bringing about bringing to pass his eternal purpose. And the use of those human instruments, as I've been talking about, is I've been focusing on what is a true minister and what is a true ministry.
That's lying again. Oh yeah, this is the only true way to be a God believer, in my specific way. Yada yada yada. Oh boy. I have a laundry list of problems I have with this film, like I was doing already. One of them is, again, the music. All of this sounds so auto-tuned. None of the music feels natural. The relationship between the Beast and Belle don't come up natural at all. It feels so forced as well. Oh boy. Number three is Rogue One. It just seems that Star Wars can't just catch a break. Because this got some controversy over Trump supporters because they felt that this movie was somehow trying to indicate anything, but it wasn't though. I mean, hey, if the shoe fits, I guess, but it's not. The film is not anti-Trump. It's not. He was not trying to do that in any shape or form. But whatever, assholes. Number two is the original Godzilla film. This film was heavily butchered, and an American edited version was released because a lot of people felt that its anti-war was too offensive. Therefore, it had to be heavily edited. The people who made this American version, behind the American version, claimed that it was nothing political, when in reality, it really was. They're trying to cover the fact that there's any hints of World War II at all. So, yeah. Alright, before I'll, go to the number one spot, I'll bring some honorable mentions. So, I don't want to repeat, to me, the same movies I've already brought up, but this couldn't actually apply to any of the Disney movies from King of Bear series because of these three characters. The body shapes, of course, somehow are too revealing, even if they're just showing some legs and the upper part of their shoulders. Because apparently, young men and older, in their teens or whatever, below that, can't control themselves with their sexual urges, I guess. And then, but again, I must bring up this movie from Michael J. Fox. And that film, mind you, showed a Vietnamese lady getting raped. I mean, granted, Michael J. Fox character trying to help her, sure, but still. And that's okay. Alright. I'll see how it is. It's stupid. What the fuck? Yeah, it just seems awfully hypocritical, is what I'm saying, folks. It's just one thing is acceptable, but not the other thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Ugh. Another honorable mention is Sailor Moon, or the movie The Promise of the Rose, was, of course, heavily censored because, of course, homosexuality was viewed as a disorder, and people assume that they're nothing but sexual deviants. So of course, they're gonna have the attitude of
Won't somebody please think of the children?
acting as though they're nothing but pedophiles and whatnot, which of course is ridiculous, very ridiculous. That makes no sense. Okay, that's an understatement because nothing in this video makes any sense when you think about it. But okay, whatever, I guess. Anyway, alright, real quick, I want to bring up Alice in Wonderland. I know Disney has been appearing on this list quite often, but point being is that yes, it's about drugs apparently. It isn't. And if it was, and don't get me wrong, even if it was about drugs, this entire thing would have still been bullshit because it's hypocritical. And what do you think the hospital have? When you think about it, the pharmacies and such, the painkillers, the NyQuil, all of which are drug related. So it's K then, right? Ugh, what the hell, man? Even though all the violence in this film is under context, because they're trying to provide if certain situations can be brought to such extremes, just like in real life when you think about it, and then the whole idea of what in war, this was heavily criticized anyway because it shouldn't be brought up because they don't want little kids to be shown this kind of a thing. So yes, of course, Star Wars is under the impression that the it should be only for kids and nobody else. So if you're basically hitting puberty, like what 13 or even 12, the youngest, you should not be watching this because it's kid stuff. So if there's any amount of aggression, it should not be displayed on screen. Even though, not even with just violence, some themes being represented in the picture. Yes, despite the context, it shouldn't be shown because it's too heavy, it's too gloomy. This kind of thing just seems to be too depressing because it reminds them of reality. So even if it's not violent, it's just showing some dark images, making reference to something. Even that's a big no-no apparently. Oh boy, come on. All right, folks, we're about to be done here, so just bear with me, all right? Just about to be done here. Well, again, I appreciate anybody watching my long ass video. But okay, let's just wrap things up before I get to my number one spot, I guess you can say, as I was saying. So I'll bring up two animated movies right here. Like for this one, for example, yes, of course, is in regards to sex. Even though the context of scenes are not exactly sexual, by any means, just how her body is. That's it. That's literally it is. But somehow that's too perverted nonetheless. And even if it was, so what? What are you doing showing this to kids anyway? Just because it's animated doesn't mean it's for kids. That's a huge misconception there. And speaking of that, women with certain body types, this character, yep, again, speaking down about sex. You realize sex itself is a part of biology, right? And again, this is strictly for a target audience. You know that, right? And I find it really odd. It's women that gets criticized for having certain type of bodies. You don't. I'm not exactly no Calvin Klein or anything, but I don't care if men advertise their bodies in such a way. If they want to, go ahead. This is a form of capitalism. Be my guest. That's fine. Okay, I guess one last movie I want to bring up. Yes, Godzilla again. This is like what the third time I bring up uh this character in one of his movies. Yes, in regards to the violence. And what I thought is odd because again, one of the biggest misconceptions is that Godzilla is for kids, kids, all for kids. That's a bunch of bullshit. What is it about giant monsters destroying cities that screams kids? I don't know. And but it just makes no sense at all. And but yeah, and yes, there are censored versions of this film out there that did premiere on television, just so the little kiddies can watch it. Under the age of 10. What they're referring to is like the one scene where the alien dude gets shot in the face, point blank range, mind you. Or the one scene where Godzilla got a lot of those finger mess with things on his body. And there's blood everywhere. And he even got shot in the throat. And blood splayed out. Like, that's too much gore right there. And then, but then there was one scene where Anguirus gets his ass handed to him. That was too violent. Oh, and yeah, speaking of guns, and yeah, the alien dude had a gun too. So there was that. You can't show that. Oh yeah, and eventually, Anguirus gets his jaw ripped off. He got his tongue ripped out or something. That was viewed as too gory. All this is hypocritical because, oh, think of the children. Think of the children. Someone please think of the children. That's a bunch of bullshit anyway, because in the Bible, it states that we're all born with original sin. Will not mean that kids themselves, our children, aren't as innocent as you would claim. Seems awfully hypocritical, don't you think? Seems a bit of a double standard. Oh, speaking of double standard, the Bible itself is extremely violent. Noah's Ark. Enough said. That's killed how many people? Holy shit. Alright, let's get to number one already. Oh, boy. Me got number one is, yep, this. The getting an NC-17 rated film is basically a death sentence for a mainstream film because you'd be severely limited to show your movie hardly anywhere. So if anything, it's like uh, a limited selected theaters, if at that, even maybe. So yeah, this was not allowed in the movie due to the fact that the film would receive an NC-17 rating. Just for that alone, they wanted any scene because of anything like that had to be completely removed. So I mean, the book itself that this movie is based upon was already getting some controversy as it is, because the book itself was apparently hating women, even though that was not the case at all. So of course, the movie was going to get some controversy involving women in one shape or form, some kind of way. That doesn't surprise me at all. So yeah, the author was accused of being sexist anyway. So yeah, what the hell. Alright, folks, I guess that'll be it for now. I know there's plenty of others, and I do mean a lot. There's plenty of others I could have mentioned, but this video is very lengthy as it is, of course. And before anybody tells me, yes, like it's just said, I realize there's plenty of others I could have had in this list. So, just want to bring up some of the asinine controversies regarding film and whatnot, because it's dumb. It's really dumb. Every bit of it is dumb. All of it. This entire thing is completely stupid. But yeah, just wow, people, give me a break. But yeah, like I said, I haven't done a top 10 list in some sort of way. I guess at least in regards of film anyway. Never done a top 10 list regarding film in such a hot minute anyway. So I just thought I'd make it with this video. So I do appreciate anybody for, having a look at whatnot. But yeah, it just comes off like, freedom of expression. Come on now. I know some people would vote for freedom of expression when they're not offended by something, I guess you can say. And I know, before anyone says anything, I know you can't just say whatever you want because there are consequences to what you would say and whatnot. I realize that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. But anyway, I guess that'll be it for now, folks. Just thought I'd throw that out for like a second, because I know, I realize that. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see you.